I'm vicariously appreciating the holy name, hearing it for the first time, because I remember when I heard it for the first time, I thought, wait, what? What was that? And Prabhupada always came to the temples that were doing the most books. So he came there regularly, and I got the opportunity to meet him there in person. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, I'm here with Vaisesika Prabhu, the great proponent of Harinam Sankirtan and book distribution. And I'd like to ask him, why is it that this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is considered the Mahamantra, the supreme mantra? And what are its benefits?
The benefits are unlimited. One can develop love for Krishna by chanting the holy name. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Apanasam srutim goram yam nama vivisho granan tata sadyo vimucheta yad bibheti swayam vayam. When you chant Hare Krishna, fear personified flees, because there's no difference between Krishna and his name. Narada says in the 5th chapter of the Bhagavatam, Iti murtyabhidanena mantra murtim amurtikam yajite yagdi purusham sasam yag darshana puman. If you want to have direct contact and direct darshan, full darshan with the Lord, the easy way, amurtikam, is through chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I say Hare Krishna Mahamantra because although there are many names of the Lord and other mantras that contain names of the Lord, we've received the mantra in its entirety, and just the way we have it now through the disciplic succession. So the Bhagavatam says, Tvat pada potena mahatkritena, if you follow in the footsteps of the great souls, the acharyas, and take what they've given you, then the process is most potent. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur fought hard to overcome many concocted mantras and asked us to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and Srila Prabhupada introduced that mantra and seemed to do quite well by introducing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that's the main mantra. It's called the Mahamantra because it's the best of all mantras.
What does it take to burn the sinful reactions at the roots so they do not reoccur? The tendency to commit sin will not reoccur. What will it take to do that?
Well, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Vishaya vinivartante, nirahara sadehina, rasavarjam rasopyasya, param drishva nivartate. That when we gain a higher taste and realize our constitutional position is to love Krishna, and that love starts to awaken in our hearts, then the sinful reactions become vanquished by the light of love for Krishna. And the power of the holy name is mentioned by Shukadeva Goswami in the Bhagavatam himself when he tells the story of Ajamil. And Ajamil, just by saying one time in a class, in the translation, the devotees were reading the verse for Prabhupada, and it mentioned that he said it a few times, and Prabhupada said, no, once. He said it once.
What did he say?
Narayan.
Wow.
And just by saying the holy name once, he said that was enough. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that although it appeared that he went on with his sinful life after he had sincerely called out the name of Narayan, it was like a snake with broken teeth or no teeth. There's nothing there. So although he went on with certain activities in his life that appeared to be sinful, his sinful life had been vanquished by the power of saying Narayan just one time, and only for the purpose of calling his son, actually, that gave him the relief from all material sins and also set him on the path back to Godhead.
Jai Ho, Jai Ho. Prabhu, share with us the most ecstatic experience you've had in this lifetime chanting the holy names.
It's at Lytton Plaza in Palo Alto, California, where we set up for our Harinam Sankirtan. We call it Kirtan Oasis. And we create an environment that's festival-like, as we believe that although we often spend $150,000 to put on a Ratha Yatra, we can create the same environment with having a Harinam festival. And sitting there watching people come by, and although they were on their way somewhere else, and I see in their faces that they want to leave, but they can't. And they get caught in the rhythm and then the mysterious sound of the holy name. And you can even sometimes see that their spouse or the person they're with says, let's go now. And they say, well, just one more minute. And then they're there 10 more minutes from that time. And for me, I'm vicariously appreciating the holy name, hearing it for the first time, because I remember when I heard it for the first time, I thought, wait, what? What was that? And I see the potency of the holy name through their absorption in it and the effect that it has on them. And repeatedly, that's the most ecstatic experience, is being in that vantage point where I can see the effect that the vibration is having on people. And even better sometimes is when we invite people to come dance. We have a dance area. And then whenever we see somebody who's moving a little bit like this, then the devotees are trained to run up to them and then pull them in. And we have a big sign that says, join the dance party. And then when they come in and they start dancing, I just think of how Prabhupada writes in the Nectar Devotion that when you dance in the kirtan or you clap, the birds of sin fly away and you become transformed. They'll never forget that experience. So the chanting of Hare Krishna is an instant festival. And if we create a space anywhere in the world so that people can come in and experience it, they will have transformation from the inside out. And if we do this systematically, for every town, every village, through the airwaves, then the whole world can transform. It will transform by the power of Lord Chaitanya's bringing the holy name when he said, through the pen of Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Nam Gai, Gauram Madhusvare, Nam Gai, Gauram Madhusvare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
When was the first time and what was the experience when you first heard the holy name?
I heard it many times going to Berkeley, where I lived in Lafayette, and Berkeley, California is where UC Berkeley is. And nearby, I used to take music lessons, and my mother would drive me by in the car, and I'd hear the devotees chanting Hare Krishna. At the time that it really affected me was, although I heard it, it sounded interesting, but I thought those people looked really strange. But then I was driving home one time with my mother in the car, a green VW microbus. I was sitting in the front seat with her. She was driving through the Caldecott Tunnel, coming out into the East Bay. And we had the radio on, and a song called My Sweet Lord came on the radio by George Harrison. And I was listening to the song because why wouldn't you listen to a Beatles song? And then the Hare Krishna mantra came on into the song. And when I heard that, all of a sudden, all the hair on my body started standing, and I got embarrassed because I hope my mom can't see me. Whatever I was going through, I didn't even know what it was. But just hearing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I had such an open mind at that time because it was the Beatles, or it was George Harrison anyway. And it was like, yeah, okay, listen, and then Hare Krishna. And it really took over my whole body. And I realized this mantra there's something in this is really powerful. I never was able to forget that experience after that time. Of course, there was one other, because coming back from the music lesson, I was with my brother, and we were walking towards the car, and the devotees had just finished doing Harinam. This is before I heard the George Harrison version. And I saw a Hare Krishna devotee walking, had a drum over his shoulder. And so just to kind of play around and to sort of impress my brother, I yelled out to the devotee, I said, Hare Krishna. And he turned around and he said, Hare Krishna. And my brother looked at me like, what did you just do? Little did I know. according to the story of Ajamil, but just saying, whether you say it out of musical entertainment or whether you say it as a way of joking or incidentally or officially, somehow you do it, then the holy name is like fire. It starts the fire. And that's what happened.
Sounds very potent. And your contact with Srila Prabhupada began when?
A summer day in 1973, when I was sitting in my room, and my friend Richie Corsa brought me a Back to Godhead magazine that he bought at Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley. He knocked on my door. I was meditating in there, looking at a candle flame, and I thought that we're all one, so it didn't matter if I answered the door or not. So he yelled to me through the door and said, "I brought you this magazine. I'm not into it at all, but I know you'd be into this." And he left it for me. When I came out, I picked up the magazine, I opened it, and I saw the picture of Prabhupada. And I had been looking for a spiritual teacher, and when I saw his picture, it was instantly, I thought, I didn't even think. I instantly felt, I couldn't stop looking at the picture, and I felt, this is it. This is my guru. And then, because I was in San Francisco, which is a famous temple, it was the second temple in ISKCON, and it was always big in book distribution, and Prabhupada always came to the temples that were doing the most books. So he came there regularly, and I got the opportunity to meet him there in person in San Francisco, 1973.
And when was the first time you heard him chant, and what was your reaction to that?
The first time that I can remember that I was carried away by it was in the San Francisco temple. They had a japa tape of Prabhupada, and they played out of a big speaker. And I heard the tape of Prabhupada and him chanting Hare Krishna, and I was really carried away by it. So I went over and sat right next to the speaker and just listened to him chanting, and that was a transformational experience, hearing Prabhupada just chanting japa.
And first time you heard him chant in person, face to face?
Was in San Francisco. He came and he sat down for class and chanted Jai Radha Madhava, and he didn't chant Hare Krishna at the Jai Radha Madhava, but later, I can't remember if he led a kirtan there or not. I don't know a specific time, first time, whatever. I just remember different incidents of Prabhupada chanting. Chanting in Mayapur. Well, I was there in Mayapur when he chanted Jai Radha Madhava, and he went into that trance. Nobody knew what to do. Everyone was just sitting there. And then Hansaduta said, Hare Krishna. And then everyone started chanting, and Prabhupada came out of it. And yeah, Ratha Yatra. Came to the Ratha Yatra, Prabhupada was there, and he was on stage.
Which
There's an
Ratha Yatra?
iconic, I think it's 1974. I was there working the book booth. We were distributing books there, and Prabhupada was on stage, so I could see him up there, and he started dancing, and then everybody else started dancing, and then the whole crowd went wild with the chanting. It was a ripple effect. It went through the whole crowd, and everybody stood up and became ecstatic. And I was happy too, because my parents were there, and my brother. They all got exposed to the radiation, which acted later in their lives.
So what was the most ecstatic moment with you and Srila Prabhupada?
Tonight, reading the fourth canto of the Bhagavatam. Because it's always there. Whether it was a time when I saw him in the magazine or when we were with Prabhupada in various circumstances when he was here. But it's always ecstatic. It's always a reminder that Prabhupada's acting on the absolute platform because he's a representative of Krishna. So when we've been in here reading, it's Kartik time, 2023, if I'm not incorrect. And we've just been reading every day from the Bhagavatam, hearing Prabhupada's purports, and we all feel that we're intimately connected with Prabhupada by hearing the vibration. And that's, in an interesting way, the most ecstatic, because we realize that we can never be separated. We never have to be separated. I think that's, when we talk about ecstasy, what does it mean really? There's an underlying sense that I really am spiritual, and it really is a spiritual process. And when we feel it for ourselves directly, pratyakshavagamam dharmyam, as Krishna says, then that's a sense of real ecstasy, because one of the psychological defects of the conditioned soul is to feel separated from Krishna. And when we realize that there's a method to be connected with him, no matter where we are, then that's a source of ecstasy.
Constantly connected.
Yeah, constantly connected. Go on Harinam, and if you only have a pair of kartals or just a bongo drum, go sit under a tree and chant for half an hour every day, and see if you can't restart the Hare Krishna movement in your hometown. Thank you, Maharaj, for propagating the holy name all over the world. May you have all success, and may World Holy Name Festival become popular in every town and village. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much.